Okay, so this is a project created by Sanchez and Tang. We created a website that can be launched in HTML5 and be a dynamic way for potential clients or potential employers to experience the design and architecture from a first-person point of view. So this is how the person would first experience the website. We have a video actually embedded into this web space, and this is a video hosted by YouTube, and we needed to embed this video as a hyperlink so that way it would keep the load times very minimal for the user as they launch into this web space. Another thing that we did is we created this little entryway, and this is kind of the vestibule of the website that you can first walk in and it will load and give you a very quick load time to get into this web space. Now, this video is actually a video of the space that we're going to be going into, and what I would like to have is many different doors that go along this corridor that will take you to many different places and have maybe some images pinned up behind this glass and more videos of animations through these different buildings as a preview and maybe a small scale model out here of what we're about to work with. And as you can see, this is a YouTube video, and to get to the next space we created a kind of a little teleport or a way to access the next level if this was a video game. So you go up to this object and it will immediately load you to this next place, and in here I start to embed some of the images of the building that we are examining, and so you can walk through this space, experience it, see shadows being cast. You have kind of a really different experience than necessarily just looking at a render. And part of what's happening is this was an experiment in trying to really take control over the materials of this rendering engine, and I'm starting to get there, but like it's hard to demonstrate this moment where you get these little snippets of these towers in the background without being able to be in this kind of situation. You can have several renders, but ultimately you're not going to be able to even notice that that's happening necessarily just by looking at drawings or renderings alone. And it's really, this is a method to allow the individual user to find out their own experiences, and they could be completely different from what was designed. Now, at the end of this particular level, you can walk through this and you're brought back to this entryway. And so this is a little bit more updated version of the map. This is what's currently loaded on saranarchitecture.com. There's the gun is still in there. However, we were unable to get the video to load to the website, so that is something that we'll try and get in there into the future. And you can see the lighting did not play well in the transfer over to the website. I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with that, but I'm pretty confident that that will be able to be remedied. Um, the emissive layer of these materials came through well. These are very easily read as you traverse through here. So what we're seeing now is what's actually a live website on saranarchitecture.com. And as you can see, this is running incredibly smoothly, and I'm very optimistic as far as being able to populate this with more levels and maybe even being able to set up other buildings that you can see off in the background. And on this particular level, you can see that the return home function isn't working all the way just yet, but that is something to be added and refined as we move on. Part of the way of bringing in other models is I have to chop them up into little tiny bits and bring them in groups, and that seems to be working pretty well. This is another project that has a lot of glass, and this is kind of the glass layer that I would bring in, and then I can place all these different FBX files, rebuild the material, and then place them back in the place them in the project. Here's another project that eventually I'll have on the website, and all of these buildings I really want to just be this interactive space where someone can go in and really have their own unique experience inside these buildings. This is obviously not set up all the way yet, but the material is starting to come out pretty nicely, um, and once the glass layer is applied to this, I think it'll actually be very useful for experiencing the space and how it was designed and ultimately how it was meant to be experienced. I think that's kind of the driving factor behind having a VR website, is trying to create an experience that would highlight the design intent of the architecture. And I think having a website where you can run around and like have that experience of walking through a threshold is the best way to experience it for maybe someone who isn't extremely versed in looking at architectural drawings. And the HTML5 port to the website has Oculus built into it. So if you have an Oculus Rift, you will automatically be given a virtual reality website of what I just walked through. So that is the website and its content so far.